What's up, buddy? Welcome back to another preseason Wisdom Warm-Up, brought to you in part, actually in full, by Paul over at Three Nails Bibles. You need a Bible rebind, you need an upgrade, call Paul. Three Nails Bibles, go look him up. He's great. I want to do a couple of episodes, actually, on speed reading, and the next one is going to be specifically on how to read a 150-page book in an hour, so that'll be a little more, targeted. This one, I'm just going to give you some of my personal tips and tricks in just how to go about speed reading. So there's a lot out there as far as how to do it. In fact, I've read a lot of speed reading books. I don't know about a lot, maybe 7 or 8 of them. And the two that I have found to be most helpful, if you want a short one, then it's just called Speed Reading. Learn to read a 200-plus page book in 1 hour. I find that title to be a little bit overpromising, but that was just for me. It might work out even better for you, and it was really helpful. So it's by Cam Knight. Speed Reading by Cam, K-A-M, Cam Knight. Knight like a, Knight of the Round Table. So KK are the initials there, Cam Knight. And then the other one is, this one's not short. This is an actual speed reading course, and you can go through and do this. It's a real thick book, but boy, is it comprehensive. I mean, just in the table of contents, if you go on go on Amazon or something, look at the table of contents to this. It's got stuff like what are your eyes doing when you're reading, and how do you control that? Because that holds up a lot of speed, and you want to do that. There's more than one way to read. Change your attitude and increase your speed. That sounds like self-help nonsense. It's actually really helpful in this situation. You got to define your purpose before you read. How do you do that? How do you know what to skip? How do you treat paragraphs? How do you treat topic sentences? We'll get into some of those things, but it's really going to help you out, and it is a time investment. This book, I haven't even told you the title yet, have I? This book is not a quick coffee table read. It's going to take you some time, but the time that it will save you reading much faster and processing much more information and learning more is going to be well worth it. So the book is called Breakthrough Rapid Reading. All right, quote. This is on the front of it. It says, speed reading is one of the truly useful educational ideas of the last few years, and this book can be the least expensive and most effective way you can learn it, by William Proxmire, United States Senator, as if that's supposed to be an endorsement. So, Breakthrough Rapid Reading by Peter Kump, which is K-U-M-P, Peter Kump. Former director in education for the Evelyn Wood Reading Dynamics Center, and Evelyn Wood is kind of the OG of speed reading. So, speed reading, Cam Knight, and Breakthrough Rapid Reading, Peter Kump, and grab those if you want to do more on this. Now, my tips and tricks, my go-to moves, I'll just list them out for you in no particular order. Here's the first one, and this is going to sound weird. Warm up your eyes before you read. Okay. A lot of times you can't read very fast, or you can't read for a very long time, and it's because your eyes get tired. Has that ever happened to you where you get, you read and then you just want to go to sleep? Doesn't matter. Like you could get in a different posture, and that would probably help a little bit, but in the end, you just want to go to sleep because your eyes get heavy. Well, what's going on there is that your eye is controlled by muscles, obviously, and those muscles are being put through things that they're not ready for, right? They're either not in shape or they're just not warmed up, and so they get heavy. They get tired. So what you want to do to warm up your eyes is keep your head perfectly stationary, and then move your eyes to, bounce them around in little spurts. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not talking about rolling them, but I'm talking about, just like boom, 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 boom. And you go to the extreme top of your field of vision, extreme lower left, extreme right, and just move it around like that. The way that I became aware of this was I took a speed reading course online, and it had us do these eye warm-ups where it would show a symbol. It showed a little pencil one time and then a book another time, and it would bounce it around the screen, and it said, follow this with your eyes. Do not move your head. It said, keep your chin still and just follow this with your eyes. And I noticed that when I did that, then the amount of time I could spend reading went from like 25 minutes before my eyes would just get tired. I couldn't do it anymore. Went from 25 minutes up to hours. I mean, my eyes don't really get tired anymore when I do that. I just run out of time to sit and read because I got other responsibilities in life, right? So I can read as long as I need to now, as long as my body's not actually tired. Then I will fall asleep. But You can do that without having an object bounce around. So warm up your eyes and do some of those things and do that for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it's going to seem like an eternity. But guys, I'm telling you, I do this. Sometimes people walk into my office and I'm looking at nothing in particular and they see the back of my head. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, thinking. Because I don't want to explain the whole thing. But sometimes I'm warming up my eyes. If you're going to do a bunch of reading, do that. All right, so that's one. That'll help. Take a business card. Here's something I do, or a bookmark or whatever, right? But you know how sometimes people will take a business card or a book. Let's just say bookmark. I use business cards as bookmarks. That's just this thing that I do because they're always laying around and they're always free. So you take a bookmark, and you know how some people will put it under the line that they're reading, and then they'll scoot it down as they read another line, and they'll scoot it down as they read another line. Do this instead. Take the business card and put it over the line that you're reading. And the reason for that is because so often we read something and then we go down to the next line and our eyes will be bouncing up to the line that we just read, because we've seen that word just a second ago and whatever. I don't know what the cognitive mechanism is that makes us do that, but it's painfully slowing when it comes to your reading speed. So if you put a bookmark above the line that you're reading, it eliminates that temptation for your eyes to bounce up there and take in more than one word vertically at a time. And you move horizontally much faster because you're not wasting all that time and eye movement on the vertical movements. So put a bookmark over the line that you're reading. Okay. You don't need to worry about putting it under the line that you're reading because of the next thing that I'm going to tell you. The next thing I'm going to tell you, this is a weird one. I've never read this anywhere, but man, when I noticed this, I was like, this was a breakthrough for me. Check this out. Let your eyes skim along the tops of the letters of the word. Okay? I don't know why. I have no explanation for this, but this is some weird kind of voodoo magic that just like, it upped my reading speed by probably 10% when I just did this thing. And as I'm reading along, if I remember to do it, a lot of times I forget. If I remember to do it, I'll look at the tops of the letters rather than the middle of the letters in the word. And for some reason, man, your eyes just glide. So business card over the line that you're reading, over the top of it, and look at the tops of the letters as your eyes glide across the words. And speaking of gliding, that brings me to my next one. Reduce the number of fixations. What a fixation is when your eyes stop. And when we're learning to read, we read so slowly that we have to stop on every word because we're analyzing it, right? Well, we don't have to do that anymore because we're old enough to have read these words many times, and we don't have to stop and fixate on every word unless there's something that throws us for a loop, right? The word though and the word through, that one's always going to catch me up, right? I'm always going to have to stop and look and be like, is there an R there or not? So the fixations are when you stop on a word. But if you can fixate maybe 3 times per line. There's an average of 10 words per line on a page, right? In most normal sized books. So normally our eyes would be fixating 10 times per line. Well, you can think about how exhausting that would be on a muscular level, right? Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. If your eyes can fixate 3 times per line instead of 10, well, then you've increased your efficiency by 70%, right? So if your eyes can fixate twice per line, if you can get that and just train your peripheral vision to catch more per fixation than you were before. Don't look at what you're looking at. Look at the field of vision horizontally around it. And you may go slower, right? When you're fixating 10 times per line, your fixations are going to sound like boom, 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 boom. Whereas if you're doing twice, you're going boom, 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 boom. But each time you've got a pair of boom, booms, then you're going down to the next line. So think about how much faster that is. I'm going to annoy you with this, all right? But here you go. Think about this. I'll go for 2 seconds at 10 fixations per line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay. So that got 12 words in, right? Now, what if I could get 5 words per fixation, and we do that for 2 seconds, right? Boom, 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 boom. Ooh, check that out, dude. It was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think we got there. Did we get 30? Might have been 25. Anyway, so we just at least doubled the amount of words that we're taking in the same amount of time, right? So limit your fixations, and you do that by training your peripheral. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. Startled myself. You do that by training your eyes to, take in more information on either side of the word. All right, so reduce number of fixations. What did I write down next? Yes. I touched on this one in an earlier episode. If you're reading nonfiction, argue with the author, okay? Now, I talked about how that helps information stick and how that helps you learn more and process the information better, that kind of thing. But think about this. If you argue with the author, after a while, you're going to say, okay, yeah, I see where he's going. You'll be able to skip the rest of that paragraph. Right? If you're tracking with his flow of argument, not just reading the words, but you're tracking with the flow of argument, you can skip the rest of the paragraph because it's going to be an explanation of what he said before, which leads me to my next tip. If it's a well-written book, there will be good topic sentences, which means at the beginning of a paragraph, there's going to be a topic sentence. The rest of the paragraph will be explanation of that. And if the book is well written, and you'll know, a couple of pages in, if they've done a good job of this, then you can skip 40% of the words in there because you're going to read the topic sentence. You're going to read a couple more sentences after that on most things. And then some paragraphs, you're going to read the topic sentence, skip the rest of it. You're skipping 80% of the words in that paragraph, right? So that reduces the amount of stuff you have to read. So you go a lot faster, obviously, and you end up with the same amount of information. And you might think, well, yeah, okay, but you're not going to retain it as well. Here's the thing. Generally, you're going to retain, like a week later, if you're really engaged in a book, you're going to retain, let's say, 20% of what you actually read. You're not remembering all of their arguments and their funny twists of phrase and whatever. You're going to remember 20% of what you read, okay? But if you can only read 20% of what you normally do and retain 100% of that, then you've got the same amount of information a week later, and you've only had to do 20% of the reading, right? So that's worth it. Right? You're going to read a little bit slower when you do that because your eyes are going to be looking for the starts and stops and things like that. But you're going to end up moving through a book much, much faster. So you grab the topic sentences, you string them together, and you don't worry about reading every word. Skip it. It's a waste of time. I learned this from the great C.S. Lewis, right? Who claims, rumor has it, that at one point in his life, he had read everything that was written in the English language. That was back before self-publishing and blogs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, in the 50s, maybe you could pull that off, but still, that is a monumental claim. And if it's true, then it makes all the more shocking what he said, which was almost nobody ever. Well, I think he was talking in academic circles. He said nobody ever reads a book word for word. He said, "Why would you? That's insane. Don't do that. Read the parts that matter and then move on." So. That's how you're going to do that. You're going to comb through the topic sentences. You're going to look for, subheadings and chapter titles and all this. And we'll get into much more of that in the next episode on how to read a 150-page book in an hour. But let me review real quick. Warm up your eyes. Put a business card or a bookmark over the line that you're reading. Let your eyes run along the tops of the letters. Reduce the number of fixations and, argue with the author and catch on to their line of thinking. And then skip what's impertinent. And if it's a well-written book, there will be good topic sentences, and then, take all of the tips from my next episode. See you there.